I think we're live. That's what this computer thing is telling us. Hey, everybody. It's the Down Beach Buzz Real Estate News and Info Webcast. And it is March 16, 2023 at 11:30. Remember, we're going to try to do these things every other Thursday at 11, but we're working on it. Sometimes there's some some tech things. We got Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty here. Say hi. Wave.
Hi.
She's wearing a beautiful white outfit, looking good. And the dude with those kick-ass headphones, Mr. Paul Scollage of Guaranteed Rate. Paul,
hello. Yeah, I'm ready to take your order. That's what I look like here.
We're trying to upgrade all of our sound and our video, so I think that's going to work out well. So let's take a look at our quick agenda. But first, let's remind everybody how grateful we are to those who are supporters of Down Beach Buzz and Down Beach Buzz, the webcast. Gilchrist Restaurant, love those blueberry pancakes. They got 4 locations. Got to go to gilchristrestaurant.com and for all the details and the menu. And if you need a good haircut, a good shave, Steve, he's the guy on the right. And Sherry, the other Sherry in my life, they work at Salon 309 and Steve's Barbershop right there in Ventnor on Dorset Avenue. Highly recommended. Salon 309 and Steve's Barbershop, Dorset Avenue in Ventnor. You will not be disappointed, all right? And these two fine folks, Sherry on the left there and Paul Scollage. Look at that handsome guy. And he even has an office in Brigantine. How about that? Here's the deal. We're going to try to touch on these topics. Paul's going to give us a quick rundown on the mortgage rates. I want to know if the banking collapse is affecting mortgage rates. How about market stats? Sherry will give us the scoop on pricing and inventory in Margate and Ventnor. Parking is still a problem. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into the planning board decision to get the Chinese restaurant in Margate got that plan squashed, all about parking requirements. How about that? And Brigantine, I just found this out last night. Brigantine might consider having a 2-night minimum. Who knew that Brigantine had no minimums? Kind of just like Ventnor. Will these 2 small towns finally say, hey, you got to be here for 2 nights or 3 nights as a short-term rental because you might be a little bit safer, a little more respectful to the neighborhood maybe, right? So let's do it, Paul. What are the current 30-year rates for very good credit people as of today, March 16?
Well, it's been a world roller coaster over the last couple of days. It's wild what we're seeing. Just last week we had rates into like the mid to upper 6s. What happened over on Friday, which carried into over the weekend, which carried into Monday, is the demise of several banks, Silicon Valley being one of them, that really, in my opinion, had an impact on what the Fed will do on the next rate hike coming up into next week. Will they have an additional hike that has been talked about as about 0.25%? Will they have a 0.5% increase, or will they have no increase, right? So that's what we're really looking at. What it's doing, though, is it's been continuing to drive rates down. Right now we're seeing rates between like the 6 and 6.25%, which is much better from this time 2 weeks ago, where we saw rates close to almost 7%. I think this trend will continue. I think we will still start to see rates come down some. And if the Fed does not have an additional hike, I think it's really good for what'll be our spring market and right into the summer. So, let's just continue to hope that the Fed does what's right and keeps rates down.
If you notice, I kind of hid there a little bit. If you notice, Sherry, take a look at my skin, and now it's not so red. Have you noticed that technological change in my screen?
I'm sorry, I didn't notice, but it looks very good on you.
Well, thank you very much. I had too much of a tan, almost like a spray tan. All right, Paul Scollage of Guaranteed Rate. Check him out. He's the Senior Vice President of Mortgage Lending. Paul can be reached at 215-416-5958, 215-416-5958. Oh, it's Tilly on the shoulder of Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty. Give us some market stats, Sherry, and give us some confidence that we want to keep buying and selling and transacting in the Down Beach area when it comes to real estate, huh?
Well, I'm just so excited to hear that rates are coming down. That was such a shock, and that happened so quickly. So that was great news.
Finally.
Right. So just, I always go over the inventory and the average price. And then I also, what I added today is how many properties are going to have went under contract in the previous 30 days. So when I say February here, we did our podcast February 2nd. So February 2nd, the Ventnor inventory was 48. Then we did one March 2nd. March 2nd, the inventory was 49. Today, which is March 16th, which is just 2 weeks later, it's about 47. So overall, Ventnor inventory is pretty stable. So if we look at next the average price, the average pricing in Ventnor is really, really stable. 1.2 million. Honestly, I'm looking at this and it's just,
it's wild.
Again, right? 1.2 in Ventnor is the average sale price. So that again is pretty stable. But then the next bit of information I wanted to show you on the next slide is is how many properties went under contract 30 days from the date. So again, when we looked at this in February, that was February 2nd. So we were really looking at the January numbers. In January, 11 properties went under contract. Then when we looked at it in March, we were looking at the February numbers because it's 30 days from the date that we looked at it. In the month of February, when we looked at it in March 2nd, only 7 properties in Ventnor went under contract. And then today, if we look at 30 days from today, it's 8. So, think about this. That's 7 or 8 properties in a month going under contract. That's not a lot of movement.
No.
So this is why, so there's just, the inventory is stable, but not that much is going under contract. That's telling you there's not a lot of turnover with the inventory. There's not a lot of new properties being listed, but there's not a lot of properties going under contract. But anyway, so it's been pretty stable, but it's not a lot of activity. And I would think by now you'd see more properties going under contract. People want to get in for the summer. By March, March and April, usually hot months. So yeah, let's look at Margate. Again, I talked to you about what the dates were. February 2nd, it was 63. March 2nd, it was 63. Today, 64. Very, very, very stable inventory. And then if we look at the average pricing in Margate, which is the next slide, fairly stable. It's actually gone up a little bit from 2 million to 2.2 million. But again, it's fairly stable. But the next slide is the real surprise to me, because even though the inventory is stable, so when we looked at March, 30 days before, only 14 properties went under contract. February, only 13. But today, 2 weeks later, 19 properties went under contract 30 days before. So that's telling me people are coming out there. They're coming out there. They probably want to get their houses before the summer. So there is some activity with more buyers out there. Margate, we went up to 19. And that's very encouraging. I like to see that number go up a little bit as well and get the inventory turned over. So
what do you have? What do you have in your hand, Sherry? Go like this.
What?
I hear some kind of noise banging around. That's okay. That's okay. I don't hear it now. It might be your buttons on your sleeves, maybe.
I hear it too, but I'm not moving. Well, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Whatever. Yeah, because
I'll talk like this.
when you were speaking, I didn't want anything to be interrupted.
Oh, sorry. Well, yes. So there's more movement in properties in Margate, not in Ventnor. That's the summary.
I'm just excited. I am just excited, Paul, because this is your favorite part of the webcast. Your favorite part of the DownbeachBUZZ Real Estate Webcast. Do you know what segment that's called?
I would love to find out. I stir the pot. There we go. What I want to say, though, to Sherry's point is we are starting to see a major influx of buyers getting and wanting to get pre-approved. right? So that's a good sign. On average, we probably see 2 to 3 new applications a day for pre-approvals. We're up to 5 or 6 a day right now, which is a really good sign.
Wow.
The downside is just with the lack of inventory. So hopefully we start to see some more people list their properties or want to sell. But the good news is we are definitely seeing a really strong influx of people wanting to buy. So that's a good point and a good part of the stable market.
Are we starting to see some 30, 60, 90-day past due numbers starting to become a little more common, Paul?
In condos or
any type of real estate or mortgage deal or monthly payment, I should say.
No, I think we're not seeing any issues on that front. I think for the most part, people's houses are worth so much more than what they owe, right? And that's a good sign to keep people carrying on their mortgages, or they're going to sell, right? It's not like the 08 market where people were underwater and they were forced to sell and then they had to go belly up. But no, that part of the industry is very strong and stable.
And it seems that we're lucky down here along the shore because we're somewhat insulated from the craziness that other real estate markets are feeling, huh?
Yeah. And for instance, the stuff in California, the interest rates in California are just astronomical compared to what we have here, because very few banks want to lend out on the West Coast.
Before I start stirring the pot here on the Down Beach Buzz webcast, I did have one question about electric vehicles and electric charging stations for bikes and cars. Does that affect your ability to underwrite a mortgage, Paul? Because I'm starting to see that some of these houses, while they got to disclose that they have a electric charging station in their garage or all these solar panels on their roof, does that play a role in how you provide mortgage rates?
Well, two different things there. Solar panels, absolutely, because there's a monthly premium that you have to pay per month to be able to have those solar panels. So you have a monthly plan or a monthly payment that we actually have to count that payment against what's called your debt to income ratios. We have to factor that.
You're saying it's a premium, and why do you charge a little bit more for solar panels on a roof?
No. What we're saying is if you have solar panels on your roof, you have an arrangement that you're making a monthly payment to the solar panel company. That payment that you're making, we have to count that against what's your debt to income ratio. So it's not a premium. I wouldn't know so much on the electric car thing. I'm assuming that's just like a battery charger facility that you have in the garage and so forth.
Because today's homes are substantially different when it comes to technology, good things and things that are not so good, whether it's elevators or pools. These are all things that we didn't deal with 50 years ago.
Yeah, definitely the solar panels is one that we're starting to see more and more of, but it's something that we just take what that monthly payment would be that they have an arrangement with. Maybe it's a 5-year deal, 10-year plan, and we count that payment against their debt to income ratios.
And I think Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty realizes that since I am the new Jay Lamont of real estate along the shore, would you agree?
Yep, absolutely. But can I ask Paul a question?
Yeah.
So Paul, I know you're qualifying more people, but are you seeing more people actually getting the deals? Like, are you able to see them more closing and coming to contract?
Yeah, great question. It's definitely starting to get better. The people that are really buying today are ones that we've had probably since September, October of last year, that are starting to understand how aggressive they have to get. They're the ones that are winning. The new ones that are coming in right now, unfortunately, are they haven't been through the market yet. They haven't put multiple offers in. So it's just how creative you want to get. What do you want to waive? What don't you want to waive on an offer? Do you want to go in at putting a cash offer in and still getting a mortgage? These are the things that we have to think about and really put your buyer in the best possible position to win on an offer.
Yeah, because I spoke to somebody else, another mortgage guy. I'm sorry, Paul, I was cheating on you.
Yeah, Jesus.
He's like, I have 150 people pre-qualified and I'm not closing any deals. Like,
I mean, it's very accurate. I was struggling for a while just because of the amount of buyers that you had. Typically, we close anywhere between 40 and 45 deals a month. We're in between like the 20 and 27 mark right now. So
Okay. But it's coming up though,
it's
hopefully.
definitely trending in an
More.
upward fashion. Here goes your Mel wants to show that facility again, huh?
No, I just wanted to look at Sherry in a full screen for a moment, Paul,
All
if
right.
you don't mind.
Okay, good guy.
She's wearing
All right,
all white.
Next
Now,
slide.
your hair's
Next slide.
looking good. Look at that smile. The lipstick's
Cheers.
well.
She's excited.
It's
Next slide.
All
The
right.
restaurant. There's that restaurant.
All right. Mel, he's playing around with all of his little
Toys.
side effect things.
Yeah.
All right.
Something like that.
Let's talk about something controversial, Mr.
This is not well. It's a situation where, on the corner of Douglas and Ventnor Avenue in Margate, the Imperial East. I think at one time it was called Billy Hose. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, it was finally sold. And now they are having to deal with maybe redesigning the plans, because they put some plans in front of the Margate Planning Board a few weeks ago, and they said, no, you guys have to have more parking. And all of a sudden now the redevelopment of this corner is in a standstill. And so what I did was I Oprah requested, that's an Open Public Records Act request. And most of the towns along the shore do a great job when you ask for, hey, can I have a document pertaining to the municipal meeting of last week? They were talking about this. They're pretty good. Margate's very good at that, at getting stuff to you pretty quick. And I asked, hey, could you give me all the documents related to how that night rolled out, the planning board meeting where they were looking at the application from the people that bought this property, the old Chinese restaurant in Margate, because none of it was available prior to the planning board meeting. And of course, I have a bug up my you-know-what about that a little bit, because it's really important. So just to give you an idea, this is the property the way it looks right now next to the bank. It's across the street from Greens and Grains, the old Stewart's Root Beer. You got some great parking there. I never saw that parking lot crowded. And a lot of takeout at Imperial East. And here's the side on Douglas. So there's more off-street parking. So there's an awful lot of off-street parking. And what happens when you have a lot of off-street parking on a property? You have less on-street parking because all the cutouts, these are all cutouts. So it's one of those weird phenomenon. You think off-street parking is a good thing, but you're getting rid of street parking. That's the downside. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read the email that came from Lisa Hagan. And both Lisa Hagan and Johanna do a great job in the Margate and City Hall providing quick responses to anybody's Oprah request, Open Public Records Act. So I said, hey, can you send me, I don't really have it here, but I basically asked, hey, could you send me the documents used in regards to this application to redevelop this corner? They have to make it commercial on the bottom, and then residential up top. It was 4 residential properties up top, according to their plans, with 2 commercial properties below. But they wanted a waiver. They wanted a variance on the parking that is typically required. Although it seems like Margate and Ventnor, they waive parking all the time. But for some reason, they did not waive it here. So here's how I got a response from Johanna and a lovely lady by the name of Lisa Hagan. They're very, very professional. They get your stuff. It's pretty cool, even though sometimes you have to ask for awkward content. The City of Margate Records Custodian received your Open Public Records Act on February 24. The response to your request, let me open this up bigger here. The response to your request is being provided to you on the 5th business day of the custodian's receipt of said request. Because you have something like 10 business days to respond. Margate's always pretty doggone quick. This is what I asked for. Please provide documents or designs or visuals or renderings used during last night's planning board meeting. Typically, they would upload this stuff prior to the meeting so people could review them. Even Roger McLarnon, the planning and zoning guy, he suggested that people upload all their stuff. So that's the first time I heard that the city should have been doing it. So the following link, where does it say here? Let me go to the other one. On the 5th day. Okay, here's the, so after I asked for those documents, this is what Lisa Hagan responded to me. Your requested visuals and renderings used during the hearing on February 23rd, 2023 were not submitted or filed with the Margate City Planning Board Administrator. What am I missing here? She had to admit it was never submitted. So what's going on? Why are we not submitting these renderings? Do you want to not let people know how intense something is or what you're doing or what you're asking for? And it's almost like the same people never got to see the documentations or the renderings or the blueprints of Lamberti's on Amherst. They never got to see that. So once again, the city of Margate legally required to tell me, no, those requested visuals and renderings that they used last night during the hearing, they were never submitted or filed with the city planning board administrator.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it's nutty. So the person that wanted to buy, and he did buy it, but he wants to develop it, an organization called SAG Associates. And they're the new owners of that property at 7800 Ventnor Avenue, right there, the old Billy Ho's restaurant, right there on the corner of Douglas and Ventnor, close to 9,000 square feet. So they're really looking for a variance. They're going to do four-bedroom residential units above and then 2 businesses or commercial properties below. That is supposed to fit within the Margate planning, the future of Margate. They wanted to adhere to this stuff. The master plan, they call it. That's what I meant. It adhered to the master plan. So they talk about parking, but this is where it gets interesting. Hey, why did you let the other people off with mandatory parking, but you stuck it to me? He says, consistent with the planning board's mixed use approval history, commercial parking has not been required due to the established development pattern and typical lot sizes. For example, a 3,500 square foot commercial space would require 18 parking spaces. 3,500 square feet of commercial space would require 18 parking spaces. So I'm going to post this up on Down Beach Buzz. I recommend that you read this in detail. It's amazing. None of this was made available prior to the hearing. But there were people that were notified that they should all show up and make sure this guy can't develop the property because they don't want those commercial businesses to open up. 4 local businesses pulled their money and hired an attorney to squash the deal. They don't want competition. Parking doesn't mean squat. You're going to get more parking on the street. You lost off-street parking, but it opens up all that additional on-street parking on both Ventnor Avenue and Douglas. He talks about these places.
You don't know what type of businesses, though, right? To compete with?
No, but there was 4 businesses that thought they had to stop this developer from opening 2 more businesses. It's a real shame. So they gave a pass to this property. You don't need parking. The old Shore Physicians Group. They gave a pass to. I get upset about this when they knock this one down. Jewels of Margate. Now it's a beautiful property, but were they required to get parking? I don't think so. And of course, we know our good friend Lance Landgraf of Ventnor kind of saying, nah, this is cool. This is why it's really important, everybody. Every town, especially planning boards and school boards, they have to become more transparent, turn on the video cameras, provide all the documentation, and stop hosing second homeowners who are not here all the time. That's a good stirring the pot, wasn't it, Paul?
Sure was. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and it's the commissioners and council people, they do a good job of recording and streaming stuff, but they won't do it for planning board meetings. They don't want you to see this stuff. And if Lance Landgraf would like to tell me about what I'm wrong about, let me know.
We should have him on.
He'll be he doesn't have the whatever. I don't.
All right.
I'll just like a talk. Whatever. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sherry.
You do like to talk, but that's okay. You are a host.
I get angry. No, I get angry because I watch this stuff and I go, Taxpayers are being disrespected. They're getting a middle finger saying, no, you can't watch what we do. Same thing in Longport. They do not allow anybody to comment during live streams for their council or their commissioner meetings. Right, Nick Russo? That's right. Margate does the same thing. Richard Deeney blocked the streams, and now Ken Mosca don't let anybody watch this stuff.
I think it's everywhere. It's not just here.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. And
it's the world we live in.
Yeah. It's everywhere. I mean, I own properties in Florida, and I'm constantly, getting these notices. Oh, this is a closed meeting, no Zoom link. And again, it is everywhere. But your points are really valid. There has to be transparency. And there's not. And how do people have trust when there's all these closed door meetings? There's no transparency. And the other thing is there should be consistency. And that was like your other point. Like, how do you have all these other businesses and then all of a sudden you're stopping this one developer? And I was just sitting here trying to think which businesses in Margate have 20, lots of parking. Now, clearly, Billy Hose did have a lot of parking because that building was built when they probably were much more strict. But I'm thinking about so many businesses, and I don't think any of them have any off-street parking. There's a couple on across the street from Berkshire Hathaway where there's parking in the back across from CVS, which is good. And then CVS is probably the only other business that has some good parking. But other than that, all the retail stores and the restaurants, there's really no parking. Nobody has it. So you have to have transparency and consistency. Otherwise, you get people who are very angry and feel
like our host, he's wound up.
Almost every single planning board meeting I watch where one of the variances being requested is, I can't handle all that parking. They usually get waived. Those minimums get waived, those parking minimums. But in this case, we can't do it. There's going to be a lot of congestion. That is so unfair. But I'm going to say it one more time. They did not provide all the renderings, all the other stuff that should have been made public. So shame on anybody that hides this stuff prior to a council meeting, a commissioner meeting, a planning board meeting, or a school board meeting. Become transparent. You're going to have more people trust you. Stop hiding behind, we can't do Zoom. Margate does not provide Zoom video access to any of their meetings. It's not a cost issue. It's not a technology issue. Even Ventnor has a great commissioner meeting system where they show stuff. They let people call in or chime in and ask questions. Ventnor does a great job. Atlantic County, the commissioners in Atlantic County do a great job. But Margate, not good. No video at all. We want to see John Amadeo sweat a little bit if somebody asks him a tough question. Why not? I'm sorry. I need.
Tell us how you really feel.
We're doing great.
Well, I've been quiet for too long, but I really this is so important, and I believe that it's incredibly disrespectful to the real owners of Margate, Ventnor, and Longport. And those are the taxpayers, the home buyers. They're in control, not elected officials, unfortunately. We forget elected officials are the employees of those who pay taxes here and who live here full time. Remember, a lot of these local people that control the electorate, they're politicians local, they don't have to worry about second homeowners because they're not voters. And very few people would say that out loud. But it's a great thing when all you have to do is cater to a smaller and smaller group of people who have voting rights. And down the shore, 75% of the people who own homes don't vote here. And it'd be great to be in control of all that money with very few people to cater to.
And it's not just Margate, like Paul was saying. I mean, it is all over the country. When you don't have the voters living there, I mean, I'm sorry, if you don't have the taxpayers living there, then you're right. The smaller group, the people that live there, are there all the time, have the loudest voices.
And this property, by but with the master plan, it's supposed to be redeveloped as a commercial and residential mixed use. Look at all the parking there. I'm telling you, it's going to be a challenge. This is a great corner, but are they going to face lawsuits and other threats to do something that'll just sink them from the beginning? I just think that people need to wake up and realize the planning board is controlling the future, and there is no more parking available. I think our good friend Crazy Roz of Jamaica Me Crazy, she said it the other day. There is no more land for parking. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. So now what do? I believe the density is so compact that a business can survive through walking or biking or electric vehicles. So quite frankly, I'm at the point where screw parking, but don't be selective in enforcing these requirements that are really out of date. Imagine the people that lived right next door to the miniature golf course, the gigantic mini golf course. Imagine that. Or imagine being right next to the people right there on that street where Ventnor Plaza was being redeveloped, and we forgot to notify you. That's nonsense. And you guys have to stick up for your rights, because it's going to get worse. And that's from deep in my heart. Jesus.
Thanks for sharing.
And we can take comments, guys. There are people that are watching live right now, and we can take some comments as long as you're kind and considerate. And we're gonna try to do this every Thursday, every other Thursday at 11 o'clock, because we think that the people who are taxpayers, who are homeowners, residents, visitors, they need to be informed about what they're getting into, especially when it comes to investing in real estate, which is so awesome. It's a great time to invest, even when the market's going crazy, right, Sherry?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Sherry, it's time for a little bit of Ask Sherry. Would you mind if I did that?
Yes.
So somebody wants to know, Sherry, I'm really afraid of the stock market. It's going crazy, interest rates. Why is the seashore different than me buying a property in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Because there's only so much land near the ocean. It's a valuable asset that's not going to expand. And, through all the cycles, all the business cycles, the shore market has not crashed like other real estate markets also, because it's not dependent upon someone's livelihood. People that buy here, they have discretionary income, and there's always a value for them for these assets, for shore property. It's a very different market than like Detroit, Detroit, Michigan. So.
And it's tough to find rentals down here. There's a part of me that wishes some annual rentals would kick in, but that hasn't happened yet. And it looks like foreclosures are very rare down here, and distressed properties are fairly rare down here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, we're past 30 minutes. Is there anything else before I say something I will regret?
We're good.
Yeah. Paul, any remaining thoughts, Paul, unless I didn't get a slide here up?
I just hope that the Fed does what's right and pulls back and eliminates all of their current or future rate hikes.
And here's my recap. During the political season, make sure any candidate provides full disclosure what they own, because they might be making decisions about something that could affect their real estate. Political candidates should have full disclosure. What do you own in Margate, or what do you own in Ventnor? Other towns used to always do it, but lately, I don't know. What real estate do they own? And one last slide I was working on, planning board meetings, put those videos on, let us see the documents in advance. They got to be live video stream and recorded for posterity. See the documents, the renderings, the site plans, remote participation. Imagine Longport saying, you can listen in, but you can't ask a question. It's amazing that they would have the audacity of saying that. And there you go. I just thought we'd end on this beautiful slide.
There we go. I just have one thing to say. This year in Margate, the first year, we're having a cherry blossom festival. It's on March 26th, and it's from 12 to 4 p.m. Like the Margate Business Association is organizing it, and the Margate Green Team. So I do want to end on a positive note, talking about beautiful Margate and our cherry blossom festival. So first year, there's going to be lots of activities for kids, and it's going to be held on Ventnor Avenue between Sumner and Thurlow. So right on the Parkway. So please bring your kids, come out and enjoy beautiful Margate. So I hope you don't mind, but I had to put that in there.
That's no worries. It looks like we got a comment from H&L Property Renovations. That's Herman, and he did where I live. He's the guy that redid my property in my condo here, Sherry.
Oh,
Well
okay.
done. Look at that.
Say hi. Say hi, Herman.
Hi, Herman.
H&L Property Renovations. Thanks for listening in and watching. And we got to maybe get a construction guy in here to tell us about, hey, are you checking your decks? We were going to talk a little bit about, but we ran out of time. Do you know that Sea Isle City collapse of the 8th floor deck? There was, they had a permit, or they didn't have proper permitting. It's a scary situation, but look into that Sea Isle City condo collapse, the deck collapse.
The Spinnaker. At the Spinnaker. That was the big condo in Sea Isle. Wow.
Everybody needs to check all their properties, especially along the shore, because of wind and salt air and the rebar getting exposed and spalling of concrete. I see a lot of it, so people keep a close eye, because everybody thought the Spinnaker, that's been around for most of my life, and I always wanted to stay there, and to imagine that falling down, that's horrifying. What a horrifying story. That poor guy that got killed, his brother, I think, was on the 9th floor deck that came down on it, or vice versa, something like that.
I kind of almost think that was a plug for Zach, my husband, because he's a structural engineer and he does look at those things and he's available for that. So thanks.
I got to admit, I'm always a little cautious when I go out on somebody's deck down here. I go, yeah, look around.
Not so much.
No? Well, you never know, and whatever.
You never know.
That's why I have a parachute where I live, just in case I could just sit. All right, guys. So thanks. Check out DownbeachBUZZ.com for all the updates. Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty. You can visit her website at apexprime.com. And if you need the lowest rates, the best rates, if you need some creativity in getting financing for a home or whatever, when it comes to financing and real estate, Paul Scollage of Guaranteed Rate. He's your man. He even has an office there in Brigantine. Go to rate.com. Right, Paul? Did I miss that out? Or is that
That's okay. You got it. You're perfect. As always.
There you go. All right, guys, let's say goodbye and wave everybody
See
goodbye.
you next
We'll talk
week.
to you in a little bit. All right, bye-bye, everybody. I think we're still on.